Welcome to Casual BCH, a podcast about Bitcoin Cash and Smart BCH, where sometimes we go off the rails and talk about everything crypto. I go by the handle Sayoshi Nakamario and created the website helpme.cash.
And I'm the girlfriend. Don't tell the wife.
Today we're going to expand on the basics of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So in the last episode, we went over Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Smart BCH.
Bit of the split.
And then some of the stuff on Smart BCH.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of stuff we avoided.
Mm-hmm.
So we could maybe go into a little bit on a little more of the technicals of Bitcoin, which is both BTC and BCH.
Okay.
Going off from that, I think one of the first questions people would have is, what is a blockchain? Because we never really went over it at all, although I believe you mentioned a little bit about it, saying how it's permanent storage and it never goes away. And
Yes. It's all, whatever you put on, it's how everybody says. If you put a picture on the internet or you send it to somebody else, it's, no longer yours. It's out there forever, but it's not really. But when it comes to the blockchain, it is really.
It is really. It's all public. It's all out there. So in a non-technical sense, the way I like to think about it is that the blockchain is a network of truth.
Okay.
So that's taking how the miners work to secure the system and how they add data to the system. Basically boils down to its truth.
Why is it truth?
Because before cryptocurrency existed, before Bitcoin existed, you couldn't really, there was nothing unique on the internet. If somebody had a picture of something, you could copy and paste it a million times, and all those pictures were the same. Nothing was scarce, because there was no way to enforce something being unique. So before Bitcoin, everything was copyable. And
Everything still is.
everything still is, yes.
So that's kind of all.
The difference, though, is
You can show proof, an actual proof of where something came from in the very first time it came.
yes. So you could have something that's considered unique before crypto, before Bitcoin, but it would need somebody to be in control of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had somebody with a video game before Bitcoin, you could have the sword of 1,000 truths on your video game character, and you're the only person in that game that has it. So you could say that's unique, because only one exists in the game, and you're the person that has it, but the game company controls the server that controls that. They're the ones that are enforcing that it's unique. They have the power to make more if they want. They have the power to delete it if they want. You're trusting them not to do any of that, which comes down to trusting humans, basically. And that company can go under, that game could shut down, the servers could all die. For a long-term value proposition, that doesn't work.
Okay.
Because you don't want to invest money into something and not have it be enforceable, the rules for whatever it is.
So you're saying because the blockchain, crypto in general, is code-based, it's enforceable. So therefore you can put money into it and trust it?
You can put money into it and trust it because of the way that the miners add data to the blockchain and how the blockchain is distributed. No single person has control of it.
Okay. But the whole being unique thing isn't necessarily... Because you have a sword of 1,000 truths, but can't I just create my own sword of 1,000 truths?
On a different blockchain, you mean?
Yeah.
You can make multiple
Or even
blockchains.
on the same one.
No, you can't make it again on the same one.
Why not?
It comes down to code.
So, can't I just create another copy, another sword?
So in blockchain, you technically can, yes, but that causes this whole other host of issues to happen. So I think we have to get into the technicals.
Okay.
So a blockchain is a series of blocks.
Wow. So we're playing Lego.
We're playing Lego.
Okay. So it's a series of blocks.
So it's a series of blocks. The nitty-gritty of it is that people are sending transactions back and forth. I have a coin, I'm going to send it to you. You have 3 coins, you're going to send it to somebody else. Those are happening all the time. The miners on the network are watching those, but nothing's technically happening yet except them watching it.
Okay.
Beside that, like in the background, kind of completely unrelated to the transactions flowing back and forth. The miners are trying to solve a math problem. They're just sitting there generating numbers, trying to find a specific number that is small enough to solve the math problem.
So they're mining diamonds.
They're digging through rocks trying to find the diamonds in the dirt.
Okay.
Yeah. And how hard it is to find those diamonds and stuff goes up and down.
Are you in sand or are you in stone?
Are you in sand or are you in stone? Are you in what do they call the stuff in Minecraft at the bottom? Obsidian?
Yes.
So we won't go that in depth. There's a whole technical side of the mining and how it changes difficulties and it gets harder
and
stuff
it determines
depending on
the
miners.
answer.
Yeah.
Which is they're searching for the bitcoins to unlock more, to create more. Not to create, but to...
Well, they do create them when they find a block.
Yeah, up to the maximum.
Up to the maximum, yeah. And that's just the code of the network, so.
Okay, so transactions happen. You've got one side where everybody is doing the calculations on the back end, and then on the front end, transactions are happening.
Yes. So the miners are trying to solve this little math problem. Once they solve the math problem, they find the secret number. All of the miners around the world are trying to do this at the same time. They're all working on the same math problem.
Mm-hmm.
The first miner that solves it announces it to the world, to all the other miners, being like they would put their hand in the air, start waving the flag, being like, "Hey, I found it! Bingo!"
Yeah.
And once they do that, they look at all the transactions that are happening, that they have had, that they've been watching.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to them. It can be all of the transactions, it can be some of the transactions, it can be only one transaction. It's totally up to the miner that finds the block.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, solves this math problem. And they take those transactions, put it into a block, and send it out to the world.
Okay.
So all the other miners around the world see that message, can check the math problem, the answer that they found, and verify that yes, it is correct. It follows the rules of the network. This block is valid because of that. So we are going to acknowledge that, as in see it and be like, okay, I'm going to now solve the next math problem that's going to be on top of that block. So the new block that's found is going to change the next math problem.
Change the answer, you mean?
It changes the question.
Okay.
This comes down to how hashing works.
Okay.
So Bitcoin uses SHA-256 hashing, it's called. So hashing is putting in a number. It could be numbers and letters. So putting in some sort of data.
Okay.
And it'll pop out the other side of this algorithm, hashed through it, and a jumble of letters and numbers. So just think of a random password type thing.
Okay.
So that resulting hash, that random password looking thing,
Mm-hmm.
It is always the same for the input. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you hash it with SHA-256, it'll pop out with some random thing, 5, 6, J, P, W, or something. If you put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you put it through SHA-256 again, it'll be the exact same result every time.
Okay.
If you changed it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and you put it through SHA-256, the random jumble of letters that'll come out through the hashing will be totally different. So it won't be the same as what the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was.
Okay, so are you saying those are the blocks?
No.
Okay.
But those have to do with the answer that the miners are trying to find.
Okay.
So once they find that, the next math question they need to solve, the block that they found will change the question, this math question, because of its hash.
Okay.
So this is kind of like foundational part of the blockchain. Every time the miners find a block, the block itself that they find is going to get hashed in some way, and that hash is going to change the question that they're searching for the next one. So if you send a transaction, you send a coin to somebody, that gets included into a block. That your transaction is also included in that hash for that block. So you doing the transaction changed what the hash is for it.
Okay.
if the miners keep building on top of that block, and then say a couple hours pass, so now it's like 11 blocks behind or something, say, if you tried to fraud the network and tried to like steal your coins back, buy a car, and so you get the car and you drive away and you're like, okay, I'm trying to get my coins back, I'm going to try and do a transaction when I had the coins and send them to somewhere else instead. So that happened like an hour ago, 2 hours ago.
So I can just pay higher gas and it'll overwrite it so that I can do it first.
Not in this case, no.
Okay.
It's a little different. This is a transaction that's already in a block. It's already occurred.
Okay.
And it's in past history.
So it's cemented in, kind of.
It's you've already put like 10 layers of cement over top of it.
Okay.
And those have dried and it's like locked down there.
All right.
So if you try to spend those coins still, you can. The problem with that is when you're trying to spend them, you're trying to spend them from the address that you had them 10 blocks ago under all that layers of concrete. So you can do that and try it. The problem is when you do that, it changes the hash of the block that you spent the coins on. So you can't just broadcast your new transaction on the block that all the miners are working on right now at the top of the concrete, because every layer of concrete that was added was assuming your transaction was in that block 2 hours ago.
Okay.
So every block has to be redone.
Okay, so I'd have to sledgehammer it all and start from scratch at the block that I wanted to spend my transactions.
Pretty much. So if you bought that,
anybody can do that.
Anybody can try it. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing stopping people from trying this.
Okay.
The problem is how much energy and work it requires. So Bitcoin is a lot of cryptocurrencies are proof of work blockchains. That means that you have to do work to earn the coins on the network.
And so for work for most cryptocurrency will be, you need a strong enough computer to do it.
Yeah. So when Bitcoin was first out, it was just running on like a couple laptops and computers type thing. So if you were in early enough and you had like an okay computer, you could throw it on the network and become a miner, and you're competing with the other people doing it. And so you'd earn blocks. You'd find blocks and you get the rewards for those. And then it started advancing. So then it was like you need a good computer, and then all of a sudden you need video cards. And then those got bypassed by specialty hardware, which are called ASICs. Advanced something. I don't actually remember what it's called.
They're the pickaxe.
They're like the bulldozer.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever digs really well.
Not a bulldozer.
It's not a bulldozer, no. So ASICs, custom hardware. It's like a little, most of them are like little rectangular boxes with a fan on each end. And that's all it is. Just a couple boards inside just filled with chips that all they do is SHA-256 hashing.
And those cost a couple grand each.
They were a couple $100 at the beginning for the early ones. But same thing, CPU, video card, ASICs, and now they're in like, however many generations of those. Yeah. So the first, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 generations of ASICs, whatever we're on now, all those early 14? Ones. I guess, so right now Bitmains, I think, is S19s.
19? Okay.
So we might be on 19 generations.
20 is supposed to come out this month, I think.
Okay, there you go. So pretty much all of the ones before those are kind of pointless to mine with because they're so weak compared to the new ones. So it's just they're constantly getting faster.
Constantly a money sink.
Constantly a money sink. So if you're trying to dig down that concrete to change your transaction in history...
I just need a couple of those.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. You basically have to compete with the existing miners.
Okay.
So they're 10 or 11 blocks. They're 10 blocks ahead.
Okay.
So you want to change your transaction from 10 blocks ago. You have to rip away all that concrete, those 10 layers, to get down to your block. You then need to redo that math problem on that block without your transaction in it now.
Okay.
Because that's how you're trying to keep your coins or send them somewhere else. And the difficulty of that math problem is the same as what the original block was. So if it took the world's miners to find that block in 10 minutes, you're going to need the same amount of power of the world's miners to redo that block in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So step number 1 is you need to get some miners. And if you want to find it in the same time, it has to be the same as the world's Bitcoin miners.
So I can just go online, purchase like 10 of them.
Yeah, exactly. There's only a couple of them out there, right? So the Bitcoin miners is the gigantic network. Like I don't remember the date, but it was something like 2015 or 16. It was like the most powerful supercomputer out there.
Yeah.
In terms of supercomputers for like pure hashing power, it was beat everything by far.
Yeah. So to speed that part up a bit, you not only need to be able to do everything those miners did in 10 minutes, you also have to catch up their 10 blocks.
Yes.
So you're going to have to do what they did, and then even more, because you can't be behind 10 blocks and say that's good enough.
Yes. So basically you have to redo the block that had your problem in it, and then catch up to the miners who are still mining. So if you're 10 blocks behind and you're trying to catch up, you have to be faster than them to catch up to them, but they're still going ahead. So you're not going to catch up in 10 blocks. You're going to maybe catch up in 15, 20, 40.
But they're also producing blocks at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
Okay.
if you're 10 blocks ahead and they're still going, you have to, if it takes you, so Bitcoin's on average 10 minutes to find a block. If it takes you 9 minutes to find a block, you're on average faster than them. So you will catch up. But it's going to take you much more than 10 blocks to catch up to them because they're still going ahead as well.
So wouldn't it be easier for me to just do it so they only did one block and me have double their power or something? Because then I could do it, right? If I bought all the miners that I could,
Yes.
super rich person, built an Amazon-style warehouse and just filled it up, and I had double their power. If they only did 2 blocks, I could then change it. Because I'd be able to produce it in every 5 minutes a block, and they took 10 minutes, right?
In theory, yes.
But that would be a lot of money.
That would be a gigantic amount of money to be able to do that. So this is kind of where the game theory of the network plays into it a bit. Because, yes, you could, in theory, do that. You could invest a gigantic amount of money to be into this mining hardware in order to try and do double spends, as they call them, to essentially send coins to somewhere to buy something. And then once you have the good, you turn around and double spend it by mining these extra blocks. Sorry, that's not technically correct. I can't actually think what it's called. Oh, you orphan it. So you orphan the chain. So if you're trying to outcompete the miners by producing more blocks than them, you're trying to orphan the honest miners chain and replace it with yours, which grows larger faster. So yeah, you could in theory try that, but it's going to cost a stupid amount of money, and once you do it, everybody's going to know because everybody's watching the chain, and they're going to see that an orphan occurred, like a longer chain overtook what the other miners were doing. This is all public. Everybody sees it happening. People get alerted for stuff like this, like instantly type things. So if you do it, people will know, and they'll know who did it, at least which miner did it in terms of like IP addresses and stuff like that. So people aren't going to, if you're actively doing it, you're basically, you're committing some sort of fraud. You are stealing money back for some reason. People are going to have questions. If this is something that you keep doing, people aren't going to put up with it. So they're going to consider you harmful to the network. Because if somebody's running around double spending coins or orphaning chains and stealing money essentially from people, it looks bad on the network.
But couldn't the honest miners just ignore my new chain?
That's what would happen. So eventually, if not right away, the miners are going to start ignoring your blocks because they're going to view you as a hostile entity. So if you do a transaction and you steal $100 million from a government or a bank or something, in general, game theory wise, even if miners hated that government or hated that bank, that they wouldn't want to support you doing that. Because everybody else is going to think, well, if miners are stealing all this money from certain people, why won't they steal from me?
But little me's not a target compared to big government.
But it's possible to steal on the network if this is happening. And that's going to be in people's minds, which means people have less trust in it. So miners are incentivized to not let stuff like that happen. They're incentivized to be honest. Because if the miners are honest, the network is honest, which means people will have trust in the network.
And everything being public, everybody can always look and see who's not being honest. And
Exactly. So that circles all the way around to Bitcoin is a network of truth.
okay. That was a big explanation
That was
for a small
very,
sentence.
very big roundabout. So yeah, essentially it comes down to it's truth. And the miners aren't going to want to support anything that isn't supporting the network. And committing fraud and stealing coins on the network isn't supporting the network.
So on a side note, side question, would that not be a way to attack coins?
100%.
So if like with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash being at war all the time, would it not be easier for Bitcoin people to purposely try and do that on the Bitcoin Cash network to make it fail?
It would. So it's not BTC, BCH specific. This would be like any proof of work cryptocurrency. So,
but I was just using Bitcoin.
It's a good example.
And Bitcoin Cash because they use the same
mining algorithm.
Yeah.
So they are both the SHA-256. So is BSV, eCash,
Bitcoin Gold,
Bitcoin. Some of them might be. So I don't follow them. So
there's like 300.
Some of them have. I know some of them have changed their mining algorithm away from SHA-256.
Okay.
So that's random side note. That's actually one of the concerns for like quantum computing, because SHA-256 is essentially a form of like encryption. You could kind of think of it as, and encryptions get broken. The algorithms get broken eventually. So that's one concern, is once you break SHA-256, all of the coins on Bitcoin are up for grabs, or like it basically becomes not trusted. So the algorithms that control this can be changed. If a better one comes out that's more secure, it can be upgraded to that. So
Bitcoin itself,
Bitcoin Cash, any crypto basically. Okay. So yes, chains can be attacked. Small chains can be attacked by big chains. BTC, I believe, has something like 99% of the hashing power in the worldwide miners right now. BCH is somewhere around 1%, and somewhere hidden in those percentages is others. Else. Yeah, the other two SHA-256. The thing with that is that those percentages can change very quickly. If BTC for some reason suddenly shut off or just died, all of the mining hash rate wouldn't just stop. They would just go to other stuff. As long as it's profitable for them. So they could all, flick of a light switch, they could all be on BCH. They could all be on BSV. They could all be on eCash, whatever. So the fact that they're 99% is on BTC right now isn't...
It's because it's profitable.
It's because it's profitable, yeah. So in terms of attacking, they could 100% attack BCH and these other ones. And it does make sense to do it in some cases. So if you are a miner and you really but you really want another chain to die because it's
stealing your thunder.
It's stealing your thunder. If it is a threat to your income. So if for some reason you had miners that were 100% BTC, if BTC goes down, the miners will die. It's their income. They can't go to the other ones. They can't go to BCH. They can't go to these other SHA-256 chains. They would be incentivized to attack BCH and these other ones because it might affect their income. The problem is there's not really an incentive to do that. So they can do it, but it's just going to be an ideological attack.
Okay.
It's not going to be it's just a personal opinion at that point. So we don't really see this happening because BCH a couple times now has been in some sort of like hash war situation, and miners have come from BTC to support it. So the hash rate on BCH has climbed above the profitable level. So miners are actually losing money when they were doing this.
Okay.
So that makes sense when you think about it, because BTC is one economic model. BCH and BTC are different, especially at the economic level. So if BTC did fail, the miners need to go somewhere. Well, okay, there's two situations. The BTC miners fail, or BTC fails, and the miners don't have anywhere to go. So all of their mining equipment
is wasted.
There are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of hardware miners, like physical machines, are now doorstops.
Yeah.
All they do is mine SHA-256. They can't do anything else. At that point, you could throw a couple in your house and use them as space heaters.
But they're not going to pay you back.
They're not going to pay you back at that point. They're just going to chug electricity. The other option is that there's something else to mine. So if BTC fails, then maybe BCH won't fail or hasn't failed yet.
So they just jump ship and go to the next one.
So they just jump ship and go to the next one.
Okay.
Whether it's BCH, BSV, whatever.
As long as it's a...
As long as it's a coin they can mine.
Yeah.
And it has a network behind it. So game theory-wise, miners, even if they hate BCH or they hate BSV or they hate BTC, they want them all to be an option. Because it's their income.
Yeah.
Having more choices is better than fewer choices.
Whoever's going to give them the raise in the end.
Yes. So that kind of plays into the, goes into more of the mining game theory. So the miners could attack those coins, or another entity could try, like you said, try to get a bunch of miners to attack Bitcoin or these other networks.
I mean, take it from like the government point.
Yes. So you could look at a government or a large corporation, you know, say Visa or MasterCard really doesn't want crypto to take off. They want to kill Bitcoin. They could spend a ton of money trying to kill it by getting all these miners and then causing havoc and doing these orphans and double spends and all that. But they'd be spending a massive amount of money getting the hardware, a massive amount of money on electricity, hiring people to manage it all. If they just took that and just started mining Bitcoins, they would make money.
But at the same time, their company's being threatened. Like if you take the Master Visa card, you're not Bitcoin specifically, but Bitcoin Cash more so, or other tokens is trying to be cash. People, I mean, I use my credit card every single day. I tap, yada yada yada. I use it, blah blah blah, 'cause that's all I can use. So if all of a sudden, and cryptocurrency is starting to take that from them, and I can start using cryptocurrency at my local coffee shop to get my coffee every single day, why would MasterCard and Visa join? Because they're losing money.
So if crypto is expanding, they would be losing money, or they might in the future, which is why they might want to attack it. So that would make sense. But if you think about it from the other side a little bit, if crypto is going to advance and threaten these companies, it's nowhere near that stage right now.
No.
That means we're very early still. And Visa, MasterCard, they aren't around the world. There are many places there aren't credit cards. There's many places that aren't banks at all. So by joining crypto, they would not only be getting in early before the worldwide population gets into it, which is going to be better. You know, that's kind of how a Ponzi scheme works a little bit, or a pyramid scheme, where the early people that get in are the ones that benefit the most.
Yeah.
So
but you want more people in.
But you want more people in it, yeah. So yeah, getting in early to that is always better. But on top of that, their customer base is going to expand to the world rather than just the countries they're in.
Yeah.
So the existing financial systems is probably the best, and countries are probably the best people that would want to attack it.
Yeah.
The problem of today is that the network has got so gigantic that it's kind of hard for anybody to do that.
But I thought we were small and early.
We are small and early, but the size of the network in terms of the mining power is
we are still
stupid.
Mighty.
We are small and tiny and mighty. So there's a good video by Andreas Antonopoulos that we can throw in here, which it kind of addresses a lot of the concerns. And I think this is back in like 2018 or so.
Okay.
Do you have any concerns about a large nation state that has interest in just actively destroying Bitcoin to make their own, super rigs and design chips and just throw hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to intentionally disrupt the blockchain?
Yeah, I don't worry about that at all. This cannot be done with Bitcoin anymore. This is something that can only be done with nascent altcoins. Bitcoin has achieved a level of computing that no single nation state can overthrow it through computation alone. The effort to do so would require a massive covert operation of chip fabrication, then the coordinated assault that would give them dominance over the next block for 10 minutes until we kick those bastards off the network, rework the protocol around them. They would be revealed. They would have lost $1 billion doing this, and all they got to do was one double spend. Now, here's the thing. Long before we get to that point, they figure out that if they just let this stuff run, they can actually get some Bitcoin. as a reward because the incentive structure actually works. And so I'm not worried about that. And a lot of people are watching the blockchain. And as I said before, what are they going to do? So they take over and they fork the blockchain and they go somewhere, right? They've created an alternative blockchain. Great. What are we going to do? Who's going to join the NSA blockchain? Anybody want to jump on FedCoin? So we're all going to stay on the old fork. Difficulty will go down. It will get more profitable for the miners who stayed behind, and we'll carry on with our coin, and they can go mine whatever the hell they want on their alternative blockchain. They achieve nothing. They can't make protocol changes because, we, as I said, 5 constituencies in consensus, and it would take $1 billion to pull the most ridiculous Keystone Cops failure in history. Plus, this would actually require government that can do IT.
I like that video.
It's your IT.
The ring's true.
What are we, 2021?
Yeah.
Chip shortages. Big crisis all around. Chip shortages. Oh my God. Cars and video cards can't be produced and yada, yada, yada. So now it's like, that was 2018. Things are getting harder. More people are mining cryptos. More cryptos are out there. And it's like, the government hasn't already done it. They ain't going to be able to do it, kind of thing.
Pretty much. The ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's just Pandora's box was opened.
Mm-hmm.
So like Bitcoin came out, it opened this new idea, this new
way
of doing things. So even if they did stamp out Bitcoin, just another one would pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't stamp them all down.
I mean, it doesn't really make sense, honestly, because at some point, you go back in history, we always advance in the way we use currency. From trading goods to using a currency owned by a government, and there's always a value to something. So again, upgrading to crypto now, and maybe in 100 years, 200 years, we don't have currencies anymore because we're not selfish assholes.
We have Star Trek credits.
Exactly.
Yeah. Replicator.
I was gonna say I don't need credits. I got something that magically makes things in front of me.
Exactly. Andreas was very pro peer-to-peer currency.
Yeah.
Very pro Bitcoin Cash, roadmap, ethos, money for the world. That changed around 2017-ish. His videos are great, especially the early ones. After the fork happened, it started changing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still check out all his videos, but he is very much more, not everybody should be using Bitcoin a little bit.
Yeah. Use your credit card, not your...
Yeah.
Crypto's meant to sit there. It's meant to make you money.
Yes.
In 10, 20, 40 years.
It delves into more of the lightning stuff as well, which we haven't gone into, but that's a whole other topic.
Of issues.
A whole other topic of issues. Boils down to it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for peer-to-peer currency. Unless you're okay with centralization.
Yeah, and in that case, stick to your government-controlled bank.
Pretty much. So that's a topic for another video. So yeah, I think most of what we talked about, Andreas mentioned in that video.
He kind of summed up everything else we said in a
much shorter
nice
fashion.
little 2-minute, straight to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we give it a little bit more background, possibly. Mostly just be rambling, but... So one thing Andreas talks about is the incentive structure, because miners are actually incentivized. So that's kind of what we touched on about how if MasterCard or Visa wanted to attack the network, they could if they wanted to, but the incentives of Bitcoin, the network, it would be smarter for them just to join it.
They make more money in the end.
They would make more money in the end. They could attempt to attack the network, get booted off, maybe they succeed once before they're booted, but at some point the network's going to reject them and all of this money and stuff that they put into it is a waste. Just from a logical standpoint, from a business standpoint, it just makes more sense even from a government space, a government's viewpoint or a business viewpoint. It's better to just join the network and make some money.
I mean, as a business point of view, it's kind of you have one person, you don't want to stop at one person. You want 2, you want 3, you want 10, 400. Whether you're a game, you're a clothing company, you're a MasterCard, Visa, the more people you have buying or using your product, the more money you're going to make. So if MasterCard and Visa can get in with Bitcoin and make it so you can use your Bitcoin rate with your MasterCard, now your reaching people who
wouldn't be using you otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, hey, if I all of a sudden a MasterCard that said, yeah, you can put your crypto in and use your Visa card, debit, tap, nice, easy. It's like, okay, I'll switch to you.
Yep, exactly. You're offering a service that people want. Even if it's a small number of people at first, it could start growing.
Yeah.
So you don't want to ignore that user base. I mean, that's happening already. Like, there's a bunch of random companies that are working with Visa and MasterCard, and they offer reloadable credit cards for crypto. And I mean crypto.com is like in the top 20 coins right now, and that's what that is. They got their own reward token that's involved with their credit cards, and it's like you unlock different levels based off how much of it you have. It's like the whole reward structure of things is changing.
People like to be rewarded.
Yeah, it's
from loot boxes, how that all started, and 2-for-1 deals when you go to the grocery store and everything else is
reward points.
Yeah,
and no, all of that's going to get integrated into it. So.
Even if it's complete shit rewards, people see, hey, I'm getting something more for already doing something I'm doing, so why not do it?
Exactly. So that actually flows into a little bit how cryptocurrency is kind of just a Ponzi scheme.
I mean, yeah, you need people to get in so you can make money. And...
Yeah. It flows into the incentive structure of Bitcoin and all cryptos generally is if you're in it, you want other people to get into it at a base level because you benefit from it. If there's more people in it, there's more demand for the coins. If you have coins already, your value is going to go up because the demand is going to increase.
Yeah. But they would also benefit if they got it.
They would also benefit because other people haven't got in yet. So, you know, it kind of goes back to the pyramid scheme thing where the people at the beginning get the most benefit.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that makes it hard to talk about Bitcoin and crypto is a lot of people see that and just view it as a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
You're trying to scam me.
Yeah. You want me to spend my money so that you make money, but I'm not going to get any benefit from it. Or if I do, I have to put in a lot of work. It's like all those MLM companies. You can buy in, you give me $100, and now all of a sudden you can run your own business. And the more you sell, the more money you make. And if you get other people in, that's
exactly what crypto sounds like to most people.
Yeah.
Like if you don't understand this stuff at a technical level or economic level, it's like that's all it comes across as. I've had this happen to me through multiple different people. Technical people. So I've worked IT. I've had multiple IT people just brush it off as a scam, which blows my mind.
I mean, a lot of people don't want to look into it. Or they heard from Buddy that Buddy lost money because he tried to do some stupid, buy low, sell high. But he ended up buying high, selling low.
I mean, if you're buying high, selling low, you've got some problems.
Well, but that's the thing. And so one person says, hey, I fucked up. I lost a ton of money. Don't do this. And then the next person does the same thing. And then people are like, oh, obviously, these people are trying to get me and just want me to fuck up so they can take my money.
Yes. And to be fair, not everybody cares about financial stuff like this.
For sure.
So, get into this stock or something. It's like, whatever. I'm not into stocks.
Yeah,
so.
I want to add into a point of it's not about buying and selling. You don't have to be a day trader. You don't have to sit there and try and time the market. There's a whole other ecosystem that's just passive income. Passive income,
or just, hey, this is, get to the philosophical side of this is better than fiat money.
Yes.
This is better than US dollars or whatever.
Euro,
yen. This is... Yeah. The government can't control you, and you get your hippie shirt on.
And your money is your money, and
but a lot of people don't get into that. They don't care about that. So
because most people just see it as the money they spend works. So what's the big deal?
So why change?
Yeah,
exactly.
But then there's a whole inflation side to it,
which a lot of people are starting to notice these days.
People are starting to notice these days.
Yeah, we call those latecomers. Late to the party.
Oh, that's what you mean.
I'm leaving that in.
Anyway.
So yeah, it's hard to talk to people about this, especially when a lot of it just revolves around potentially making money.
I think money is kind of just that topic in general that most people don't want to talk about. I mean, I know
religion or
well, not even
politics.
That. It's if you talk to people who have a ton of money, it's okay because they have a ton of money and you have a ton of money, so you're in
Sure.
the same. But if you try and talk to like the average person who's like, yeah, they work their normal 9 to 5 job and they've got some savings, and it's like you have savings sitting in your bank account doing nothing and you're making nothing on it because banks pay shit. Well, hey, I got this awesome idea for you. And they're like, scam, close the door.
Pretty much. But then at the same time, you don't really want to be responsible for them putting in and then losing.
Exactly.
So.
It's a very
Touchy subject.
Yeah. When all you want to do is be like, here's 5,000 videos from 5,000 different people showing you how to do this. But that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. If you're interested, go watch these videos. That's what I'm doing now.
You're just dangling out the hooks.
Yeah.
And seeing what bites.
Yeah.
I was very evangelical about it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I would never shut up about it. I never shut up about it now. Somebody mentioned this as well, and it kind of rang a lot of truth for me, was when you first get into crypto or Bitcoin or whatever, it's an interesting thing. So most people that get into it seem to dismiss it the first couple times they hear about it. Oh, whatever. Because it's kind of complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a technical thing. It's money. It's economics. But once you start learning about it, it's like, oh, this is cool. And then it's like you go down the rabbit hole. And if you jump in, you jump in.
I got somebody in recently into smart PCH farming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I understand this part, but I want to understand this part. It's like, well, you don't need to understand that part. No, but I need to understand this part. And they just keep going and going and going. You're like, okay, like you're past like 99% of people at this point, and you're like a week in. Like, take a breather, calm down. You don't need to know this stuff.
Yeah.
No, gotta know everything.
Gotta know everything.
It's like, okay, well, here's 500 other chains. You might as well go study.
So now he's 99% deeper than anybody's ever got into this one little feature of it that is like a minor detail that nobody cares about normally in crypto.
Yeah.
It's because it's so big and there's so much stuff.
And you can't catch up. You can keep, like, we spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
It's kind of like referring back to the miners thing, where you're trying to orphan the other chain, so you dig down the concrete and you gotta go up, but the miners are still going. You gotta catch up to them. Yeah, no, there's too much crypto stuff going on.
The
You
books
can't.
are just stacking.
Exactly. By the time you finish one book, you're like, sweet, okay, awesome, and all of a sudden there's like 50 more stacked beside you that weren't there when you started.
Yeah.
So once you really get into it, you become evangelical about it. Mm-hmm. You're excited. You're spreading it around. You're constantly talking about it, and that's when you start getting a lot of people that are, brushing you off. Oh, it's a scam. You're talking about this money thing, and I can make, but I need to invest money into it. Like, why do you want my money? And this is complicated thing, so they don't understand it yet, or what it could potentially do. And that's you've broken that surface, so you understand that like there's a ton of applications this can be used for. Potentially the entire world could get into this, and nobody's in it really right now, even today, compared to the world. At least for myself, I was at that stage, and I just kind of got beat down a little bit because you just get rejected so much.
Yeah, people aren't interested. Nobody wants to talk about it because they don't understand it. And you're like, hey, I want to explain it to you. For like, yeah, one day, yeah.
Well, one day, I'll give you money for me to explain it to you.
Yeah.
And they still don't take you up on it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess I've done everything I can.
Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of, especially people that have been in it for a long time, there's definitely exceptions to it, but they're not standing on the hilltops screaming about it as much as they used to by any stretch.
And there's some still that are definitely for it, and they're pushing it, and they want the adoption. But I find they're more the new people constantly.
Yes, and that's because they're in that euphoric stage.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's,
oh my god, guys, pay attention to this. So, who the fuck is Dub Digital?
Dub Digital is a YouTuber, much more on the trading side of crypto. Mm-hmm. Quite entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
So you can check him out on YouTube at Dub Digital. So youtube.com/dubdigital.
Mm-hmm.
DUB Digital. He's also got Twitter, which is the same thing, except there's 2 U's in Dub. So it's Doob Digital. He streams Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific and Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific.
And what's his whole thing? Coffee and vodka?
Coffee and vodka and sleeping on the couch.
There you go.
So yeah, he is much more on the trading side, but he's been in crypto for quite a number of years. He went through the 2017 crash. Believer in the 4-year cycle. So you can go over to his channel and figure out what all of that means, because that is also a whole other world of information.
He also touches on other cryptos and
Yes.
checks them all out too. He doesn't specifically focus in on just one.
He's actually one of the really good, more hidden for now streamers and influencers.
So there's another good video to watch, and he goes into holy fuck crypto.
So basically what we've been talking about.
Yeah. So we'll insert the video
Here.
Yeah, man. Welcome back. Accidentally went into a rabbit hole called cryptocurrency. Still have not come out. You won't come out. You know that. It's impossible, man. Once you make that money, once you make some serious crypto money, you just look at your job and be like, what the fuck am I doing here? That's what I thought, man. I was like, wait, hold up. I just made how much money? What? And then I just think about like how hard I bust my ass to make a fraction of that money. I'm like, what? Huh? And my mind was just like, and then like I just couldn't look at my job the same, man. I couldn't. I just like, it's like, this is some bullshit, man. Like for real, like it kind of ruined my professional life. Cause I couldn't do it. I couldn't bust my ass like that, knowing that it's like I thought money was so hard to make. And crypto is so easy. That's why I just put all my attention on crypto. It's like, it's life-changing shit. It kind of messes your brain up. It kind of messes your outlook up on regular life, man. See, that's a cross you got to bear. You know there's a second world out there. Second world. And it's digital. And like people in there, they're like memes and they're funny and they're making money though. And the world tells you got to be so serious all the time. And the world tells you got to like button up that tighten up that tie and talk like a robot. And it's like crypto, it's almost like the opposite. And it's weird. And it's random. And I like it.
So it's like a kind of a perfect example of what we're talking about. And it especially flows into the incentive structure of crypto and kind of like the pyramid schemey Ponzi style of it, where you get into it, you can absolutely make money on it.
Oh yeah.
Even just from buying coins early, holding it, and as people join it, your value goes up.
Yeah.
It incentivizes everybody that joins it early to spread it. And
it causes the ripple effect of the pyramid scheming. Oh my god.
Exactly. And that's part of why the network effect of Bitcoin works, which a lot of cryptos are based off of.
But what happens when everybody's in it?
Then we rule the world.
But then there's nobody else to come in and give more money and make more money.
Yes. So once everybody's in it, we have a better world. Because there's a ton of things that crypto enables. Like one of the little things that pops into my head is like taxes for governments. So a lot of people in crypto that don't like taxes whatsoever. That's one viewpoint. The libertarian side, taxes are theft. Definitely truth to that. But say taxes exist in the future. Yeah. You can determine what your taxes go to.
That would be so nice.
Yeah, with crypto you could set it up like that very easily. So that your taxes go to healthcare or schools or whatever. Roads. The amount of money that's going to all those things could be public. So you can see where the money's going. What does have money, what doesn't have money. What's got more money than it needs, but maybe people want that to be like that. And
then for companies, what they spend their budget on.
Yeah, it's super transparent.
Yeah.
Because it's code. It can be designed to do what you want, essentially. So
if not yet, give it a year.
Yeah, if you can
or
think,
a week.
if you can think it or dream it, it can probably be possible in some form. Open, fully transparent elections.
Yes.
Voting systems that can't be faked or ballots stuffed into boxes, and there's a massive amount of use cases for it. Everything from that stuff to little games to currency on Mars that interacts with the Earth. That's solved if crypto's there. So
because it can go anywhere.
Yeah,
it's mind blowing, and it's hard to look at life in the same point of view when you can just, you buy a coin and you have another coin and it's like, well, now I can do something with these 2 coins. So I put it in and now I'm making money off those coins that are making me more money, and it's a cycle of money.
The economy these days is going downhill almost everywhere. So crypto's almost entering, or it's entered for a while, but it's only getting better for crypto's use case. That network effect, that pyramid, Ponzi style, whatever you want to call it, like it's helping it. Are we going to get to the point where everybody uses crypto? There's nobody left to onboard? Don't know the future.
People's always being born. As long as we keep having kids, there'll be new people.
As long as we keep having kids, there's always people on board. Another point about that is once people have money, it's almost like we're in another renaissance. Things are changing rapidly. There's lots of talk of like a new transfer of wealth happening or going to happen, whatever. I think it's already happening. People that are early into crypto, and already now there's like billionaires that came from nothing because they were in crypto early.
Yeah.
They are going to hopefully be more forward-looking people. And they are suddenly going to come into a lot of money. I'm not just talking recently. I'm talking the future. So like people are getting into crypto just today. If this keeps going and more people start getting on and countries start adopting it more,
another 5 years, 10 years.
10, 20, 30 years, like people just getting into it today are going to be very well off in the future, most likely.
Even people who get into it in 5 years.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
So these people are going to have time to do things that they want. That's the thing, is if you have money, you don't have to worry about basic bills and surviving. You can waste your time sitting on the computer playing games, sure.
Yeah.
But you can actually do things. So we have another clip from Dubs that kind of touches on some of the topics we've been talking about, indirectly, kind of, about how the incentive structure of crypto, Bitcoin, whatever you want to label it as, is kind of a pyramid scheme. It's kind of a Ponzi, where the incentive structure is of the people already in it want other people to get into it. And the only way that'll happen is if people actually believe in it and do things. So it's like word of mouth is probably like the best, especially speaking from a Bitcoin Cash standpoint, because we don't have a separate corporation or DAO that is like running marketing. Word of mouth is king.
Yeah.
Even for the cryptos that have those central marketing teams or whatever, you need people to onboard to your system and believe in it. You need users that will spread the word, that will do things, that will build on top of it. And Bitcoin Cash has shown that it is very powerful what individual people can do. All it takes is one person to do a video, a podcast, write some articles, decide they want to try learning how to code and building some random app that ends up going viral.
Cryptocurrency as a whole has proven that it takes one person to do something amazing.
Exactly. You don't need permission to do it. You don't need special knowledge. Like, all this is public knowledge. If you don't know how to code, you can go out and learn how to code.
Yep.
As long as you have internet access and you have a
YouTube.
basic machine, you have YouTube, it's all out there.
Yeah.
It's just waiting.
And there's books at the library if you don't, and there's courses if you're that kind of person who needs a classroom.
But that's just coding. It's like if you want to make ATMs, like there's all that type of stuff. There's hardware side of it.
Yeah,
there's
the artistic side of it.
There's the artistic side. You could make art for it. You could start accepting crypto and pushing for crypto for your arts. Just making memes and stuff like that online.
Yeah.
Like, it's an actual thing that if you can think of something that you want to do, it can probably incorporate somehow.
Yeah.
And it could cause a stir.
Well, and that's even just that personal selling person. You want to sell something, accept crypto. Even if you get only one person using crypto with you, that's just one more customer you got. I know I've looked at a few stores to buy things. It's like, oh, you don't accept crypto, but I want to buy a crypto thing. So I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So following that a little bit, I think we'll flow into our second Dubs clip.
Okay.
Nice, man. Good. Guys, see, you've been making videos. That's good, man. You guys know about crypto. I don't know why you're not online already. Like, all of you. Why not? You don't think the space needs you or what? Ain't no one going to build anything. You be the change you want to see in the world. All you need to be online. You all should have a channel. We should all be watching each other's channels. You should all be sharing alpha. I'm serious. I'm serious. Oh yeah, but it's saturated. No, man. 2017 influencers are getting showered in money now. That could be you next cycle. Why not? Meet people, grow with the industry, make contacts, talk to people. Opportunities come and present themselves just by being out there and putting yourself out there.
And we're back.
So one thing that comes to my mind after watching that one is, because he's like, watch people and talk to people and you can make connections. And it's one of those things where the spaces aren't very big. It's not worldwide. It's not like you're trying to get in with Google and MasterCard and all that. But at the same time, it's like getting into Google early. There's companies where you can talk to the CEO, the people who are creating it, and if you have, whether you have knowledge and you can want to help, or if you just want to be a part of the system, or you can ask them questions directly. You want to use their exchange, you want to use their website, whatever, their game. You can talk to them. If you have a personal question, if you're having trouble, you have CEOs respond to people for $10 for exchanges and stuff, and it's a small space, and it's put yourself out there. You can get connections. All of a sudden, you could be getting a job offer and moving to across the country to work at a different company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is being done through like Discord groups and Telegram groups,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just an active community, all these random people. And if you jump into it, it's like, yeah, you're sitting there chatting with the CEOs and multi-billionaires potentially
Mm-hmm.
that got in early or got in later and they were already billionaires.
Yeah.
And
it's a different world.
It's a different world, yeah. That's because it's still small.
Yeah.
And if everybody's into it, it wouldn't be like this. There probably will be cliques forming and stuff like that.
But it's from everything. If you want to make a video going over how to do these things, or starting out with it, or you want to make artwork and sell it for crypto, there's companies who are looking for everything from developers to artists to web people to somebody to just advertise for them.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many little positions and stuff that you could end up getting a whole different lifestyle just by taking a step and jumping in.
And if you think that you can't do it because yours won't be good and other people will do it so much better,
then look at Doge.
Look at Dogecoin. No, what I was gonna say was look at our podcast.
Yeah.
We're on a fold-out table right now, technically.
With blankets all around.
With blankets all around, yeah, to try and get the echoes down.
Yeah.
But like I've seen videos of people walking people through how to do farming for DeFi and how to make a token and all these random things. And the videos are garbage quality.
Mm-hmm.
But they have useful information.
Yep.
And people, they don't care about the quality. I mean, you gotta have
nice.
Quality's nice. You gotta have a thick skin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the internet.
Mm.
But people want the information.
Mm-hmm.
They if it's useful information, those crap videos has got people talking and got that person's subscribers or listeners or whatever, donations.
Yeah.
Like people. It is a very open, friendly community.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not in an open, friendly part of it, just move on to one that is.
Yeah. And I think even to go back to, even our little podcast, we talk about this shit every day, all day.
Much to your...
And so you keep pushing and you want to do a podcast and you want to record it. And, it can sound like shit and it'll be shitty. And, after 5-10 years of doing this...
Maybe it won't be so shitty.
Yeah, maybe we'll get, some actual
Probably not.
Less clunky conversations going, but...
No, it's not going to happen. So to sum all of that up, it is a different world.
Come join us.
Come join us. There's nothing stopping you from doing it except yourself. And we will see you next time.
Sounds good.